There's never a great day to be a press secretary for a geriatric president, but it seems like both of the chief spokeswomen for these just ancient dudes in the White House are having, well, they're kind of crashing out. I don't know what else to tell you. Let's talk about this. I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. Now, I want to point out that there's this story I want to focus on first is Karoline Levitt, who is mostly takes her role as less about informing the press and more about trolling them. And Fox News and HuffPost have two very different takes on the same story. So we're going to break down both of them. Now, this says Karoline Levitt goes scorched earth on a HuffPost reporter, says to stop texting BS questions. Now, the HuffPost reporter, so Karoline Levitt actually dropped her own screenshots of this text exchange between her and a HuffPost journalist. Now, I'm not exactly a huge fan of the HuffPost. I think they are as turbo leftist as Fox News is turbo rightist, right? But that doesn't mean that they aren't real journalists. And Karoline Levitt got asked a actually pretty valid question from SV Date. The journalist asks, is the president aware of the significance of Budapest? In 1994, Russia promised, in Budapest, not to invade Ukraine if it gave up nuclear weapons it inherited when the Soviet Union dissolved. Why does he not see why Ukraine might object to the site? Who suggested Budapest? Right? And the last question is totally valid. Who did suggest Budapest? Now, the Levitt's response was literally, your mom did. And Date went on to ask if the prospect of his question was funny to Levitt. She replied, stop texting me your disingenuous, biased, and bull BS questions. Now, again, she says, well, your question was biased because you don't like President Trump. But let's pretend that this question could have been texted by anybody. Could have been texted by a Fox News journalist. Do you see why the answer of your mom did it is, one, stupid. But two, even HuffPost is like, guys, this isn't the flex you think it is. Literally just being like, yeah, your mom suggested it. No, dude, this is like a major international meeting. Something that, as I recall, President Trump is like proud of. And something that is, yeah, sort of offensive to Zelensky. This is, and the Ukrainians. It's all like, just like, really, I don't know what to tell you. Watching these people be like, oh, what a legend. It's like Elon Musk brain has rotted everyone. Like, even her own take. She's like, he's a left-wing hack who's constantly attacked President Trump for years and bombards my phone with Democrat talking points. Look at his feed. It's like an anti-Trump personal diary. Like, she's like, you're a far-left hack who nobody takes seriously, including your colleagues in the media. They just don't tell you that to your face. Stop texting me your disingenuous, biased, and bullshit questions. Again, this is, like, just, this is a totally normal question. And frankly, I would be really curious to get the answer to it. So again, what we're seeing is this tendency that, one, I think you're seeing this broader tendency among staff in the White House that they're not really capable of handling the job. It's stressful. It's hard. It's hard to be the press secretary of the leader of the free world, or whatever Trump calls himself. And it's hard to be in any of these roles. But that's why we try to pick capable people. It's one of the things we complain about Steve Witkoff. Steve Witkoff isn't up for the challenge of the role. He doesn't have experience, and he doesn't have the humility to learn how to do it. And you see that the couple of people that have some of the requisite qualifications, you see why historically secretaries of state tend to be sitting senators, right? Because they tend to have a little bit of knowledge about how this works. That's why Marco Rubio doesn't seem to be doing these like buffoonery, doesn't engage in this like buffoonery, right? And even guys like JD Vance, who like I really can't stand, he is capable of navigating the political world without doing these totally unforced errors, these unforced fuck ups, without resorting to being the juvenile child. The people that aren't are the Steve Witkoffs of the world, the Elon Musks, right? A bunch of these people, like, it's, to me, a reflection of the fact that, lo and behold, experience matters, despite what everyone might tell you. And these jobs aren't things that just any old person can do. And this, I think, is like reflective, again, of like the difficulty of taking some of these things seriously. But here's the thing. This isn't the only press secretary who's crashing out, because Biden's former secretary is also just rolling out a level of cope that is truly astounding. Karine Jean-Pierre, right? This is Biden's former press secretary, has dropped a book, of course. She says, independent, look inside a broken White House outside party lines, right? And she claims in her book, of course, she's on a book tour, that the party's internal dysfunction and disloyalty helped pave the way for its 2024 defeat. Essentially, she said that disastrous Joe Biden debate, she said, quote, the first time I heard him speak while he was debating, when I heard his voice, I thought to myself, uh-oh, he was hoarse. He kind of looked like he was sick. Guys, I was sick all this week. I didn't look like that, and I didn't sound like that, and I was not that lost and confused. Like, Biden is, again, she's out here revising history. She's like, everything that I've been pushing back on, she continues. His age, is he fit? Like, automatically, anytime he would sneeze or have a runny nose or something would happen, that would be where the questions would go. I think that's a valid question. He was 82 years old, man. He was barely moving. He made some serious public gaffes. Again, are they as serious as Trump's? Well, in terms of gaffes, yeah, they're about the same. Which doesn't mean that Trump doesn't also have dementia. Like, 2 80-year-olds can have dementia, believe it or not. And she maintained that she saw no reason to doubt the president's ability to serve. I stand by that 110%. Now, here's what I want to point out. As I said in my video after the debate, that the president of the United States has to be, like, you don't have to never get sick, right? That's not the standard. But the standard is, you have to be on your worst day, when you're feeling as bad as you ever have, you have to be able to get woken up at 2 a.m. when your Secretary of Defense goes, Mr. President, we've detected a launch of missiles from inside of Russia. They are headed this way. What do we do? Like, the man on that debate stage, I would be terrified if he was to get that message. That he would be able to ask the right questions in the right time frame and make the right decision in the 45 minutes that he has to do that. And that's true of a variety of crises. And to sit there and have her be like, she blames the Democratic disunity. She's like, Joe Biden objectively had a very successful 4 years. I don't debate that. I think it actually was pretty successful. Stock market all-time highs, right? Rolling back from COVID. I think his infrastructure bill was kind of a fuck up. But believe it or not, he was surprised one of the most hardliners, Democratic presidents on immigration that we've had in the 21st century. Believe it or not, right? Google total expulsions by president. You'll see Biden expelled millions of people and actually had some good reforms. There was real hope that his bipartisan immigration reform would have actually made the system way more viable, but Trump killed it. She says, and here we are on the cusp of an election of a lifetime, and all we need to do is get behind our person, and we couldn't do it. Republicans are able to do it, and we weren't able to do it. She cited Nancy Pelosi and George Clooney, who she said signaled their doubts about the president. All of it, she said, contributed to a perception of disunity. No, dude. No. It's that she and the White House's ilk hid Biden's true mental state the entire time. And they're like, vote blue no matter who is also anathema to democracy. I don't know what else to tell you, right? Trump won in a broad primary with lots of candidates. and Republican voters chose him. Not true of Joe Biden, right? And what's funny is she recalled facing scrutiny at the podium, including claims she lacked policy depth, which she did. And then she proceeded to blame that criticism on being a black woman. Like, I'm sorry, but is it possible? Is it possible that not being a black woman, but your inexperience could have contributed to that? Bear in mind, for really important briefings, they actually brought over Jack Kirby from the Pentagon to give those critical briefings where wording mattered, phrasing mattered, like those things matter. And it's okay. Like, it's okay to not be like to be like, hey, I still have some growing to do in my role as a communications director or whatever. And that's one of the reasons why it kind of sucks to be like, hey, you're going to be catapulted to the apex, like, while you should have another decade, maybe working in a smaller executive branch or something to really season yourself as a policy person like that. And that's not, I'm sure she faced some criticism because she was a black woman, no doubt about it. But to dismiss it and say, well, that's just racist. Well, that's stupid. That plays into like the worst stereotypes about kind of like the wokeness. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, okay, dude, like you had a hard job. You did the best you could. There's some areas you could do better. Like, imagine if I was like, on my first YouTube video, I'm like, I'm the perfect YouTuber. It's sort of annoying. And any type of video didn't do well, I go, oh, the algorithm is oppressing me. I'm like, no, dude. She says Democrats failed black women and Asian as they relied on them, right? They've always vote blue, and then they get forgotten, despite Biden and Harris's administration elevate those voices. Again, she's like, they people like me felt seen, that mattered. Good, sure. But again, she says also, now I'm an independent. She goes, look at me. I'm not telling people, hey, go become an independent. There's a growing number of people who see themselves as independents, including young people. We have to question, why is that? And Democrats failed to anticipate what would follow their loss. And this part I agree with. She said there's an opportunity to reimagine what politics can be, reimagine what America can be. That means you can't stay quiet because silence is complicit. And again, I don't think that's necessarily true, right? But the fundamental idea of like, listen, you can't, if you're the Democratic Party, you can't just be like Trump bad. And don't get me wrong, it's easy because, well, he's increasingly looking like just a bad person, right? And the people around him increasingly look like just kind of cruel, vindictive, mean people, right? But that doesn't mean, but one thing that nobody can argue, Donald Trump has a vision to radically change the United States of America, right? Like radically reimagine what it is, its relationship to the rest of the world. He's got a vision, and God bless the guy. He is pushing the absolute limits of power of the law to do so. And the Democratic Party, I couldn't tell you what their future looks like. It looks like, the past. It looks exactly like a continuance of the past, which has not been great for people. And so that's sort of my gripe here, is like, on one hand, you have the Karoline Levitts, who are just assholes. They're mean. They're out of their depth. They are hostile to completely valid questions and are like proud of how childish and petty and bullying they are. And then you have Karine Jean-Pierre, who's part of the circular firing squad, labors under this total delusion that clinging to a geriatric president was like a noble thing. Like, dude, I will literally pay. I will place the bet that Joe Biden will be dead or so ill, so far gone that he is unable to be in front of a camera by the time 4 years is up. Right? As we discussed, President Biden was diagnosed with a very aggressive form of prostate cancer like 2 months ago. So like, the survival rate for an 80-year-old with like metastatic prostate cancer is very low, guys. And it, like that alone should make you say, well, I'm glad we switched him out before he became president, because otherwise he'd be literally dead in the White House. Or we'd be covering up another health thing. We'd be covering up his terminal cancer. Like, it's absurd. It's absurd to sit there and be like, you can't treat the American public like idiots or like people to be engineered, right? Like, they just need to be told how to, what to, like there's, the American public's wishes and desires are just like, it feels like the Democratic Party looks down on them so much. And don't get me wrong, like, the like billionaires and donors around the Trump administration like hate working Americans. Like, they truly do. They think that if they make their lives more punished, they don't even care. They have like total apathy. It's something between apathy and hate. But it's like, I'd rather have like an enemy. I wouldn't rather have an enemy. But like getting lectured to like a school marm, like I'm the bad person, is also like pretty insufferable. It's like having to choose between like a literal dangerous neighbor, right? And the most insufferable, condescending neighbor. You're like, yeah, I want the condescending neighbor because the other guy waves guns around in his yard, but I'd really like to have like a friend. Like, what if I have a neighbor who's just cool? Like, can we get that? Can we get one who's just cool, you know? It's like, hey, you know, maybe we could save some money if we all just, instead of paying a health insurance company, we all just sort of chipped into one big pool, right? Or said, hey, if you want Medicaid, you can buy in a couple of years early. Just cost you, you know, a couple $100 a month or whatever. Like, that would be cool. That would be a cool person. Said, hey, you know, we're going to make it a lot easier to build houses, especially in urban areas where there's a lot of demand. We're going to, you know, you can even go Trump. Deploy ICE to tear down $2 million brownstones and build up affordable apartments. I don't know. They seem like they have plenty to do. They seem like they have stuff going on. I don't know. We could build a better country. And she's right. She's right. Like, we can reimagine what a better country looks like. And like the lack of vision, it feels emotionally geriatric, right? Like the which antiquated vision of the country are we going to pursue is exactly what I would expect from two 80-year-old politicians. Like, they're just so calcified into like 1975 where that none of their visions for the country make any fucking sense. Anyway, that's all I had, guys. Thanks to Sergei Zinchenko, Alan Nuts, and Alfred Chesky, Gina Cuesta, Thomas Anderson, and all of our Lieutenant tier members. Hit subscribe. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.